Well, hello and welcome to a new video. This one's a Dinky Toys 491 NCB electric dairy van. As you can see, it's been over painted, the tyres are missing. Looks as though it's been quite extensively played with. They were made between 1956 and 1960. And this one I'm going to renovate now. While I'm struggling to open the case, I'd just like to thank any returning viewers and any new viewers for watching. I hope you enjoy the video. And if you like the content that I'm making, if you could click a subscribe, I'd be really grateful. Only a single rivet in this one, but as usual I haven't drilled it out very well. So I'm having a little bit of a fight with it, popping it open. But there we go. It's done. Not the longest strip down ever. There's just one rivet at the front and then it hooks in the back just above the number plate. Because it's been overpainted, it's a little bit stickier than I expected it to be. So I'll just get this one in the caustic soda. I'm not going to remove the wheels from the axles. I don't think I need to, and I am going to overpaint them anyway. So out to the stripper, and having given them a little bit of a polish up, bodywork's not too bad, a few little casting lines to sand out. I've primed them white and I'm just putting on now the first coat of the top coat for the float, and this is a Jacquard airbrush paint and it's just a basic white. Goes on quite well. Doesn't require any additional thinning or reducing. It pretty much sprays straight from the bottle. Just trying to get a nice even white coat on it. I will be painting this two-tone later on. But I want a nice even white finish on it. And here's the base. I've just taped off the axles to limit the amount of overspray that I get on them. And again, over with white. I'm applying a sealer now. And this is Auto Air Intercoat Clear. The purpose of this is that it will help the paint, hold the paint back from stripping when I'm masking it off. It's kind of like a varnish, I suppose, in many ways, but primarily it's an Intercoat Clear. Just dusting a few nice coats on, and then I'll dry it off with the hairdryer later, off camera. Just making sure we get a good coat on it there. As you can see, I've masked it off with the usual style, with first with the vinyl tape to make my crisp line, and then just some masking paper to stop it from getting inside the casting while I'm spraying. It's Pro Colour Poppy Red that I'm using. It's a pretty close match to the colour I was going for. I'm spraying this one up in the style of Unigate, which is a dairy company that I once worked for the whole week. I was 19 at the time, and the notion of going to work at the time I usually went to bed didn't appeal, so I wasn't one of their longest serving employees. I was there for a whole 7 days, including the training course. As you can see, just a few light coats to get the red where I want it to go. And we're pretty close to reaching coverage there. For those of you who like to know about this sort of thing, I'm using an iWater Eclipse HPCS and spraying at about 40 psi. Just about reaching the covering coat now. And I'm switching to doing the base. Same paint, same colour, same settings. Made this one a little bit difficult for myself by not trimming the amount of masking tape that I'd put on the axle rods. But that is the advantage of the airbrush. You can get into the trickier spots with it. Whereas I find the paint can a bit of a blunt instrument. They're not really designed for getting in these nooks and crannies in the same way. You know, it's even coat on the wheels now. I originally was going to paint the wheels black, but once I'd seen them with the red on and kind of envisaged the nice new tyre on there, I thought I'd leave them that way. Stripped off the masking tape and we're just applying the decals now. These are some that I made up myself. The farmer's wife one was particularly tricky because the only image I could find of the wording was on a photograph of the tea towel that somebody had collected from the 1970s. So I had quite a lot of fun cutting that one out in an editing program just to get the wording. But I think it looks the part. I put one on the door and one sideways across the kind of front end of the car and the front end of the cab and wrapping around the corner, which was in the style of the day. All the while through I was doing this project, I had the 1970s Unigate milk selling campaign about the Humphreys, mysterious creature that was hoovering up all of the milk. So you were encouraged to order extra milk because the Humphreys were taking it. Apparently a very successful campaign for Unigate back in the day, or so I'm told. Just giving it a bit of a dab now to get the excess off. I've used Microsol on this particular occasion, Microsol Blue. And it's stuck like a limpet. It's gone really well on this one. The Unigate logo on the front there. This is my second application. I tore the first one, so I edited that out, so don't tell anybody. You haven't seen me do it wrong, have you? Squaring it up across the front there. Trying to get it in the middle of the windscreen area. I did briefly work for the milk company Unigate when I was a teenager back in the 70s. I was 19 years of age, and they offered me a job where the time I started work in the morning was the time I was used to going to bed. So I didn't last very long, a whole 7 days, including the training course, and I was gone. Not for me, thank you. But kudos to anybody that does it for a living. I don't think I would have ever wanted to have kept that job. Just adding the Humphrey slogan across the back there now. Trying to keep it square with the red line in the body. So it looks as though the tips of the straws are poking up from the red bit. And another little advertising slogan on the back there. I'm just dabbing off the excess moisture with a Q-tip. Little bit of highlighting here to do now, not a great deal of additional paint work. Just highlighting the door handles and the hinges on the flap for the battery box, or what would have been the battery box. I know some of these had storage areas in them, but obviously Dinky didn't include that in these little models. Just a gentle touch with a little bit of aluminium fine on the hinge section there. And then filling in the brake lights, come marker lights. Considering that these things tooled around in the early hours of the morning so that the milk could be on the table for breakfast, I think I would have gone for some slightly larger lights if I was designing it, but there we go. Happy enough with that. Move on to the headlight. Gone round the ring of the headlight with some aluminium fine. I'm just filling in the beam area with a bit of white with the tiniest little hint of sky blue in it. Just break up the white a little bit. There's no easy way of doing these things. It's just short strokes with a short brush. And hope not to get too much over the edge. I'm just touching in the aluminium on the light bezel now. Make it stand out a little bit more. And it's assembly time. Pop some nice new tyres on. As I say, I thought it set it off well against the red rims. That's why I left them that way. Apart. And she's a roller. Put the two halves together again now. I trimmed the little slot out at the back to get the excess paint off, because it was a little bit tight with the layers of paint and lacquer. But I managed to get it together without damaging it, which I was quite pleased about. And once I'd lined the little tab up at the back there, a little bit of pressure and it pops in. Yeah, it's not spoiled the paint, I'm happy enough with that. A little bit of super glue now, and a rivet in to put it all back together again. Only one rivet in this casting, which makes a nice change. Looks like I dropped the rivet. And there she goes. Little taps to get it down to the bottom. Clear the swarf on the side of the drilling. Hit it with a zip kicker. As I apparently say. Pop some number plates on. Fab 40H. Happy enough with that. I think it looks pretty neat. And here's the finished project. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Hellboy59 and you have all been very patient. Thank you. See you in the next one.